Hey friends, it's Rick. I'm back with another video. Today I'm featuring products from Paper Rose Studio. We're going to be using the Happy Halloween 6x6 paper collection along with the embossed die cuts as well to make a fun fold card. We're going to be making a spanner fun fold. Before we get into that, I want to show you the pattern paper. This is one of the patterns that has cut aparts. We have some pumpkins on black, some treats, Halloween treats, pumpkins, ghosts, and potions and treats, some mushrooms, fall leaves, and other fall adornments on one side. And then if we flip them over on the back, we have some spider webs, some spooky haunted houses and ghosts and bats, some other Halloween attire, some bats, candy corn, ghosts, and pumpkins, and some ghosts on a blue navy background. So there is all the pattern papers. You get 16 double-sided pieces of pattern paper in the 6x6 pack. Now we are going to be using some charcoal black cardstock. I've already cut it at 5.5 by 8.5, or 5 1/4 by 8.5, and scored it at 4 1/4. First thing we're going to need to do is do our we're going to cut a split in the middle. So now I always recommend, anytime I teach a fun fold, I always recommend to make a template that would write all the measurements down so you know what to do later on. All right, so we're going to turn this on the 5.5 inch side. And we are going to line this up at 1 1/4 inches. And I'm going to line it on 1 1/4 on this side. And I'm going to take and move my blade all the way to the top. And I'm going to come down until I get to the score line. Or you get to the 4 1/4 inch mark right there. Then you can flip it over and do the exact same thing. Make sure that blade's up at the top. We'll pull that down to our 4 1/4. And stop, and there is our panels. All right, we have two pieces, or two matte layers of Tangerine cardstock that are 1 by 4, and two pieces of the pattern paper that are 3 3/4 by 4. We're going to layer those up together first. So we will take and add our glue to our back of our pattern paper, add it to our matte layer. And apparently Rick did not cut our pattern paper right. I forgot to take off 1/4 inch. So those should be 3 3/4 by 3/4 by 3 3/4. So we can mat them on the 1 by 4s. I got a little ahead of myself. So I'm going to flip that over. And I can add that one. Now on that side I already had glue on. I can add some more. And we can add it to our smaller flap on the left. And I will add this one to our other matte layer. Making sure we are in the right direction. Make sure we have a good margin on both sides. We'll add that to our other flap on that side over here. All right, for our center panel, I cut a different pattern paper. I went with the navy and the treats. And that is cut at 2.5 by 3 3/4. And our matte layer is 2 3/4 by 4. So we'll take our 2.5 inch piece of pattern paper. And I will add that to there. And then we'll add this to our center flap. Now, you totally could have just continued on with the whole same pattern paper, but I chose to go ahead and feature a separate piece of pattern paper as well. because I do like to mix and match. All right, now we have a piece that is 5¼ inches by 1 inch of the charcoal black. That's going to be our spanner. We have a tangerine layer that is, I'm sorry, this is 1¼ by 5½. This is the 1 by 5¼ So I will add that. Add our liquid glue. Just center that. And then I have that same pattern paper we used here. I've cut it down to 3/4 by 5 inches. I'll add that to the center. And then I'm going to flip this over. And what I'm going to do is I'm only going to add adhesive on the parts that will stick to these two right here. So we'll add a little adhesive right there, a little right there. I can flip that over. Now this you can move up, place wherever you want it on your card, wherever you want that to be, that spanner. Because what happens is, I'll show you once it's dry, that part will lift up by itself and you have that little bridge. And then this part is separate. So you have like a little fun fold. Okay. So for the inside, I have a piece of basic white cardstock cut at 4 by 5¼ We're going to add that to our inside. So we have a place to write. And then I have a piece of pattern paper cut at 3/4 inch by 5¼ So we're going to have our little decoration on the inside. Now, I also have a little embossed die cut that I'm going to add to the inside as well from our Happy Halloween embossed die cuts. So I'm going to add that over to the right-hand side. So our spooky Halloween vibe keeps continuing on to the inside of the card. All right, let's finish up our other parts and pieces. I have more of our embossed die cuts. And for my sentiment, I took one of the cut-aparts, cut it down, and then matted it with the piece of basic white and a scrap of the tangerine. And I just kind of just laid them in there and just matted it. So everything would have just a little mat. I'm going to take that and I'm going to add to the center panel of our spanner card. That's going to be where my sentiment lives. I'm going to add my little haunted house on this side. So I've got to make sure I place it or only add adhesive on the parts I know that will touch the flap over on this side. That way it will keep it from sticking shut. That would not be a good thing. So I'll add that embossed die cut right there. All right, we're going to add our little pumpkin next. So he's going to live over on this side of our card. And then we're going to add our cat over here. So I'm going to add liquid glue behind that. And I'm going to stack it slightly over the pumpkin. So there's that. Now, I chose the bats to use as embellishments this time. So I'm going to sprinkle those around the card. We're going to put one over here. We'll put the biggest one over on this side. Like he's flying out from that haunted house. Then we'll add a couple of the other ones around the other side of the card. To finish that off. All right, so here is a finished look at my slide spanner card. There's a closer look at it. Here's a look at when we first open it up. Here's the look when it's completely opened. I hope you like this video. I hope you give it a try. I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Stay crafty. Love you.